Now we are looking at the third type of plain, that is depositional plains. Now, when we talk about depositional plains, we are talking about plains that are formed as a result of deposition. In other words, they are plains formed by the deposition of materials brought by various agents of transportation, such as rivers, winds, waves, and ice. These plains, when compared to the others, are very level, but sometimes it may rise gently towards adjacent highlands. The fertility of this type of plains and their economic development depend greatly on the type of sediments that are laid down or that are deposited. So whether this type of plain will be fertile, a fertile land or not, it depends on the sediment that are brought by the agents of transportation. When we talk about the agents of transportation, we are talking about the agents that carry sediments towards a particular place. Now, these plains are grouped, that is the depositional plains, are grouped into the following categories. First, we have what we call alluvial plains. When we talk about alluvial plains, they are plains formed from deposition of materials or sediments eroded from the upper course of a river and deposited at the lower course of the same river. So let's take this blue illustration here as the river. This is the upper course and this is the lower course. So when materials are eroded from the upper course and deposited at the lower course, they are called alluvial plain. These kinds of plains are very rich when it comes to nutrients and normally is very, very good for agricultural activities. An example is the Mississippi Plain. It is an alluvial plain. Secondly, we have what we call the flood plains. These are plains formed from the deposition of sediments carried by running water during floods. So during floods, the sediments that are carried by running water, when those sediments are deposited and forms a lowland or an extensive plain, they are known as flood plains. An example of a flood plain is what you see here, the Caprivi Plain in Namibia, Africa. There is what we also call the delta plains or the deltaic plains. When we talk about the delta plains, we are talking about plains formed from the deposition of sediments brought down by a river and deposited at the mouth of the river. When we talk about the mouth of a river, we are talking about where the river joins another water body. An example of such plain is the Nile Delta of Egypt. Now, the blue zone you see here is what we call the Mediterranean Sea. That is the sea that separates Africa from Europe. And this area is Egypt. Now, this is what we call the River Nile. Now, this river brings sediments, and those sediments are deposited at the mouth of the river. And when such deposition forms an extensive area, it is known as a delta plain. Now, when you go to Egypt, most of the people are settling at the delta zone. Why? Because that is the most fertile zone in Egypt. So normally they have a saying that the Nile is Egypt and Egypt is the Nile. That is, most of the Egyptians depend on the sediments of the Nile. Without the Nile, or without the delta, Egypt would experience desert lands. But because of the Nile here, Egypt is now enjoying agriculture. We also have the lacustrine plain. When we talk about the lacustrine plain, we are talking about plains formed when lakes get filled by incoming sediments. Sometimes there may be a river existing, and that river is rapidly filled by incoming sediments. Now, a time will come when this lake will be filled up and the water will dry out, forming a land. That type of land is called the lacustrine plain. That means it is a plain formed from a lake. An example is the Red River of the North, found in the United States and Canada. So we'll end here. Let's write the notes so that we can